Good morning, fourth graders. Today we're going to continue learning about how the gold rush affected California. Today we're going to be looking at 4 sources. Don't worry, the last 2 are together. So the first source we're going to be looking at is how the gold rush impacted the California Native Americans. As we know, the California Native Americans were impacted greatly by the missions and the changing from the missions to the ranchos. And then here is the gold rush. So we can infer that they would be impacted quite a bit. The second primary source we're going to be looking at is how the economy changed in California. As the gold rush came, there were different industries that came and changed the way that people earned money. And the third source we're going to be looking at is a map of California during the time of the gold rush and a modern map of California today. And we're going to compare those two. So let me share my screen with you so you remember where to find your document. Again, we're going to Schoology and you're looking for Social Studies 4.3, June 3rd, and you know you're in the right one. After I'm done with this video, I'm going to attach the document and the video to the assignment. So normally you would see the document and the video here, and all you have to do is click on the actual document, which I'll take you to now. Okay, so for this document, you're going to see the first source is actually a letter written from E.A. Stevenson to a special Indian agent to the Honorable Thomas Henley. Okay, so this is a person who's in charge of Indian affairs in San Francisco in 1853. So what he writes is the Indians in this portion of El Dorado County of the state are wretchedly poor, having no horses, cattle, or other property. They formerly subsisted on game, fish, acorns, etc. So subsisted means that they survived. And when it says game, it means that they were hunting. But it is now impossible for them to make a living by hunting or fishing, for nearly all the game has been driven from the mining region or has been killed by miners. The rivers formerly were clear as crystal and abounded with the finest salmon. I used to see the Indians taking barrels of these beautiful fish and drying them for the winter. But the miners have turned the streams from their beds and made them so thick with mud. Okay, so this is the plight of what happened to California Native Americans during the gold rush. So this text shows that because of mining and the mining operations, it devastated the communities of California Indians who still lived in the mountains and in this downstream into the foothills and the valleys. So the miners not only had, it was them, their population there, but also all their equipment, which then crowded out the native people. And then the mining also caused drastic changes to the environment that made it difficult for native communities to access the foods that they needed to survive. So the question you need to answer for this one is, how did mining affect native people's food supplies? Take the evidence from the letter. What do you think native people did to solve this problem? Okay. So their access to food is being cut off, and what do you think they did to solve the problem? And how can we find the answers to these questions? You don't necessarily have to look it up, but if you wanted to, you could see what the answers to those questions are. The second source is a train in Dixie Cut. It's a gold run station in Placer County, and this is from 1865 to 1867. Okay. So the main industry during that time, during the gold rush, was of course the gold, right? But because of all these people that came to California, it also created other different economic activities in California. because the miners would build homes, they needed stores, they needed tools, okay? Everything that they needed required wood. So what ended up happening is that we know California, especially Northern California, has many, many trees and home to many trees. And so they started cutting down these trees in the forests, and they would get the lumber they needed or the wood they needed to make their homes and buildings and all sorts of things. Okay, so they not only needed wood, but they also needed food. Okay, which is how farming and the citrus industry in the valley actually started. Okay, the economy, because of the gold rush, was growing so quickly that they had to build a railroad across the country to reach California. Okay, so now we have the railroad is being built to make it more easy access to get to California. Okay, so what might a railroad line do to the land? So if you put a railroad line into the land, what would it do to it? And what sort of new economic opportunities might a railroad reaching to the eastern United States bring to California? So if they have this easy access from eastern United States to the west, what kind of other opportunities do you think would come up in California? Okay, so the last one is, this is a map of the gold regions in California. This was made in 1849, so a year after gold was found in 1848. Now this map specifically, so it shows map of the gold regions of California. It says showing routes via Chagres and Panama, Cape Horn. So people would travel using boats to California to gain access. So here you see the Panama Canal right here. Here's Cape Horn. So people would travel on boat around South America and then travel back up north to California. Okay, other people would take the Panama Canal and come around that way as well. So this map actually shows the region, and it shows, oh, this is where you can find gold. So people would sell this map to people who wanted to come west for gold. And they would give them directions, things that they needed to know. They would describe California. It also gave them a packing list, things they should take with them. Okay, so this is a way to entice people to get to California, but also promising them a better route, okay, to arrive before everyone else, to kind of persuade them to go to California to look for gold. Okay, so a lot of these people traveling on boat would arrive in San Francisco, and that's where we saw the big boom town of San Francisco, yes, on the first day. And then you can see that here is a modern map of California. Okay, so if you look at this map, look at California right here, and then look at this one. Okay, so compare this map to this modern one, and see how the size and shape of California changed over time. Okay, so how has the size and shape of California, so this is California right here, how has it changed over time? Okay, and then that is it for social studies today. Go ahead and finish your questions and then submit it to your teacher. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.